What is something perfectly legal that feels illegal? Walking through a metal detector always puts me on edge. Feel like out of nowhere I'm suddenly concealing a weapon. Shit, I did put my knife in the checked baggage, right? Edit. Whoa. This blew up. This is an actual thought I have every single time I fly, because I do carry a small pocket knife with me most of the time, and I don't want to lose it, because I get carried away and go too far in the airport security system. Watched a SAT agent ask a guy where's the big knife. He was confused and said he didn't have one. She kept looking through his bag. Either you give me the big knife or I'll find it myself, and there's going to be trouble. Again. He said I don't have a knife in my bag. This escalated more and more. She made a scene. Couldn't find a knife. Finally she scoffed and said get to your gate. I mean, if he had a knife I wanted her to find it. But she ended up just power tripping. I got through airport security one time without realizing, until I was on the plane, that I had like a 5-inch folding knife in my carry-on backpack, and then on the way back I got stopped by SAT because of this cool crystal rock I found the size of like a Big Mac, and when I asked why I couldn't take it, they said it could be used to bludgeon somebody. Like there isn't a million things past the checkpoint I could buy and then hit somebody over the head with. After getting out of the army, US, calling everyone at work by their first names, or using an umbrella, putting your hands in your pockets too. The first thing I started doing to reacclimate myself to civilian life was intentionally put my hands in my pockets. Driving at night with the dome light on in the car. We have our parents to blame for that. Driving when near a cop. Even if you did nothing wrong, you feel like you're driving with a stolen car and you have blood on it. And you're cooking meth in your trunk with a body hidden where the spare tire goes. Taking something into a store like Lowe's or Home Depot to make sure you can find the correct adapter or connection. Then walking out with it and not paying for anything after not finding the correct connector. When you enter a store with your own stuff you need to wave it around at the camera so if they try to bust you, you just say check the footage, I'm innocent. And then they say that's great. This is Papa John's. We didn't expect you to be stealing a wrench from us. But those aren't your pizzas. Ugh, I know this feeling. Then they start yelling at you all like why aren't you wearing any clothes? It's so awkward. Usually they just get mad at me parking my car through the front windows. Owning a flamethrower is legal in 48 states. California and Maryland require licensing. Owning a grenade launcher is legal if you pay $200 to get a permit. Plus $200 permit for each shell that qualifies as a destructive device. Doesn't apply to smoke or flares or stuff like that. It fires $200 permit shells at 375 rounds per minute. It costs $15,000 in permits to fire for 12 seconds. Some people think they are smarter than me. Maybe. I'm yet to meet one who can outsmart Grenade. Who touched Sasha? Who touched my gun? As a pet sitter for pets in my complex, even though people give me their key to get into their house, it still feels really weird entering someone's house, especially when I don't know them all that well. Quick tangent, one time, while leaving the person's house and locking the door behind me, a neighbor approached me at the end of the driveway and started talking to me. They were trying to be subtle, but it was clearly obvious that they thought I'd stolen something. Even after I showed them the key that the owners had given me and reassuring them that I was only there to feed the cat, I could still feel them watching me as I walked back to my place. It's good they're looking out for their neighbors. It might also be good, if you're comfortable with it, to either introduce yourself to neighbors or have the complex somehow share what you do. Edit. Holy good God, Allah, and the flying spaghetti monster. How did I get 2.0k upvotes? I mean, it's solid advice, but cool. I guess I'm going to Disneyland now. turning left at a red light from a one-way street to another one-way street. Edit. For those asking or confused, I live in Ontario, Canada. I got pulled over for this once. The cop was polite enough to let me Google it on my phone. I showed him the results, he shrugged and said back quote, "You learn something new every day," then walked back to his car. Strangest exchange I've ever had with a cop. Taking a crap ton of samples and then buying nothing. Our weekend Costco lunch. Mall food courts. Bonus points for going back 4 seconds. Wife and I drove up the coast to go wine tasting and had an early appointment for our first stop. We got super hungry on the way up and thought, hey, let's find a quick bite. We pulled into a market area that also had a Costco. We looked at each other and nodded, parked and went into Costco. We had 2 rounds of samples, then got back in the car and made it to our wine tasting just on time. It's been years since I was in mandatory education, yet I still feel weird being out in town during the day on a school day. Taking money from a take a penny leave a penny tray. It's there for a purpose, but it would feel like I'm taking money that belongs to someone else if I did so. Nah, nobody cares. I take a coin to scratch lotto tickets all the time. I figure the $1 I pay for my $0.95 has me covered anyways, since I don't wait around to get the nickel back. Walking underneath the nothing to declare sign at customs, even though you literally don't have anything to declare. Edit. Obligatory thanks for the gold, kind stranger. This happens to be my first rodeo. Every time I go through customs they change up the questions they ask. It's a little unnerving. The last time was, "Are you bringing any cash?" I said no, but I really had like $0.65 in my pocket. How are you actually supposed to answer something like that? I mean properly? Just about everyone's carrying some cash, and I'd probably want to have at least a little bit when entering a foreign country. I guess you should answer about $20 or something, assuming that's the truth. I'm in the EU and rarely travel outside of it, so I don't actually have to go through customs often. I feel like I'm almost entirely unprepared for any surprising questions. Ordering weed of a government website and smoking it in Canada. It's illegal to buy from a guy on the corner, but okay from the government. And growing weed in your backyard. Absolutely nuts. Well, given the government can't tax the guy on the corner. Leaving a store without having bought anything. Or when you walk into a store with something you bought in another store. Especially if it's something they sell. Last year I was at IKEA, and in the warehouse section right before checkout, they were giving out free full-size bars of IKEA chocolate. If you took a short survey about store experience, I took the survey, got the free chocolate, paid for my items, took them to the car, and came back in to go to the food court on the 2nd floor. It's buffet style and you can get packaged items there as well, including the chocolate bars. You load everything onto a cafeteria tray and take it through cafe checkout. When I was checking out, the cashier said, "Will that be all for you?" And I said yes. She gestured to the large chocolate bar sticking out of my purse and was like, "Did you want to pay for that too?" I'm not easily embarrassed and have never had an issue with social anxiety, but the overall accusatory feel of what she said rendered me unable to speak comprehensible English. For several seconds I was finally able to stammer out that I'd received it from a first floor employee for taking a store experience survey. The cashier accepted that and swiped me through, but I was really uneasy the rest of the time I was in the store. Fight awkward with awkward. No, thanks. I'm fine. First drive after getting a driver's license. This 100%. I remember driving to the store to get milk and eggs by myself for the first time after getting my full license. Was such a weird feeling. Now it feels weird having someone else in the truck lol. Now it feels weird having someone else in the truck lol. I read that as trunk first and I was like UHH. Yeah, it always feels weird when the body in the trunk is still alive. Stealing a balloon on Free Balloon Day.